Welcome to Faith and Mysteries. Dive deep into the world of spiritual insights, supernatural phenomena, and faith-based literature with our comprehensive book summaries. Today, we delve into The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel, an extraordinary journey of a skeptic-turned-believer who set out to investigate the evidence for Jesus Christ. Lee Strobel, a journalist and legal editor for the Chicago Tribune, was a committed atheist. His journey from skepticism to faith began when his wife, Leslie, converted to Christianity. Strobel, determined to understand the basis of her faith, embarked on a 2-year investigation to uncover the truth about Jesus Christ. The Case for Christ documents his meticulous research and interviews with experts across various fields. Our exploration begins with the reliability of the New Testament documents. Strobel interviews Dr. Craig Blomberg, a New Testament scholar, who addresses the credibility of the Gospels. Blomberg explains that the Gospels were written by individuals who either had first-hand knowledge of Jesus or were closely associated with eyewitnesses. This proximity to the events significantly strengthens the reliability of their accounts. Additionally, the short time gap between the events of Jesus' life and the writing of the Gospels reduces the likelihood of legendary embellishments. Blomberg also highlights how oral traditions in ancient cultures were remarkably reliable, countering the argument that the accounts were distorted over time. Next, Strobel examines the textual evidence for the New Testament. He meets with Dr. Bruce Metzger, an expert in textual criticism, who elaborates on the meticulous process of copying manuscripts in the ancient world. Metzger highlights the vast number of New Testament manuscripts available, over 5,000 in Greek alone, and thousands more in other languages. This extensive collection allows scholars to cross-check and verify the text's accuracy, ensuring its reliability. Metzger also discusses the early dating of these manuscripts, some of which can be traced back to the early 2nd century, offering a short chronological distance from the original events. Strobel then investigates the archaeological evidence supporting the New Testament narratives. He consults Dr. John McRae, a biblical archaeologist, who discusses several significant archaeological findings. For instance, the discovery of the Pool of Bethesda, mentioned in the Gospel of John, and an inscription bearing Pontius Pilate's name, provide tangible evidence that aligns with the biblical record. These discoveries lend historical credibility to the New Testament accounts. McRae also touches on other significant finds, such as the ossuary of Caiaphas, the high priest involved in Jesus' trial, further anchoring the gospel narratives in historical reality. To explore whether Jesus believed himself to be the Son of God, Strobel interviews Dr. Ben Witherington III, a New Testament scholar. Witherington examines Jesus' self-understanding through his actions and words. Jesus' use of the term Son of Man and his authority to forgive sins were clear indicators of his divine self-identity. Additionally, Jesus' fulfillment of Old Testament prophecies and his performance of miracles further support his claims. Witherington emphasizes that Jesus' actions, such as healing on the Sabbath and forgiving sins, were seen as blasphemous by religious leaders of the time, reinforcing the notion that Jesus made divine claims about himself. The climax of Strobel's investigation focuses on the resurrection of Jesus, the cornerstone of Christian faith. He discusses the historical evidence for the resurrection with Dr. William Lane Craig, a philosopher and theologian. Craig presents several key points: the empty tomb, the post-resurrection appearances, and the transformation of the disciples. The empty tomb is supported by multiple independent sources, including the Gospels and early Christian creeds. The post-resurrection appearances, witnessed by numerous individuals and groups, provide strong evidence that Jesus was seen alive after his death. Finally, the dramatic transformation of the disciples, who went from fearful deserters to bold proclaimers of the risen Christ, suggests they genuinely believed in the resurrection. Craig also addresses the role of women as the primary witnesses to the empty tomb, arguing that this detail adds authenticity as women's testimonies were not highly regarded in the first century and unlikely to be fabricated. Strobel also addresses common objections to the resurrection. He examines theories such as the swoon theory, which posits that Jesus didn't actually die, but merely fainted and later revived. Medical experts confirmed that the Roman execution methods would have ensured Jesus' death. The hallucination theory, which suggests the disciples only imagined seeing Jesus, is also refuted. Hallucinations are typically individual experiences, not group phenomena, and the diversity of the resurrection appearances further weakens this theory. Craig further explains how the empty tomb alone would not have led to the rise of Christianity. It was the combination of the empty tomb and the post-resurrection appearances that convinced the disciples and early followers. As the investigation progresses, Strobel explores the psychological evidence for Jesus' divinity. He consults Dr. Gary Collins, a psychologist, to assess whether Jesus exhibited signs of mental illness or delusion. Collins explains that Jesus' teachings were coherent, consistent, and displayed profound wisdom, unlike the disorganized and irrational thoughts typical of mental illness. Moreover, Jesus' self-sacrificial love and compassion for others were remarkable, indicating a well-balanced and healthy personality. Collins also contrasts Jesus' behavior with common characteristics of delusional individuals, emphasizing Jesus' rationality, empathy, and groundedness in reality. Strobel also examines the martyrdom of the apostles with Dr. J.P. Moreland, a philosopher and theologian. Moreland argues that people may die for a lie they believe to be true, but they would not willingly die for something they know to be false. The apostles' steadfastness in the face of persecution and death strongly suggests they genuinely believed in the resurrection of Jesus. Moreland highlights the courage and conviction of figures like Peter and Paul, who faced extreme punishments and executions without renouncing their faith, further underlining the strength of their beliefs. Throughout his investigation, Strobel confronts his own biases and preconceptions. He reflects on the implications of his findings and the weight of the evidence pointing toward the truth of Christianity. Strobel's journey is not just an intellectual pursuit, but also a deeply personal one, as he grapples with the moral and spiritual dimensions of faith. Strobel shares his internal struggles, recounting moments of doubt and revelation, making the journey relatable and human. By the end of his 2-year investigation, Strobel is convinced by the overwhelming evidence that Jesus is indeed the Son of God who rose from the dead. His journey from skepticism to faith is a testament to the transformative power of seeking the truth with an open mind and heart. The case for Christ is not only a compelling defense of Christianity, but also an inspiring story of personal transformation. Strobel's story highlights the importance of evidence-based belief and the profound impact of encountering well-substantiated truths. Thank you for joining us on this journey through The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. We hope you found this in-depth summary insightful and engaging. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe to our channel for more captivating book summaries on faith and mysteries. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to share your comments and questions below. For those interested in diving deeper, you can find a link to purchase the full book in the description. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll explore another fascinating book that delves into the realms of faith or uncovers intriguing mysteries. Until next time, thank you for listening to Faith and Mysteries. Have a great day.